Welcome to Unmasked, where we take off the filters and get real about faith, failure, and finding freedom. I'm your host, Wesley Farnsworth, a dad, veteran, author, and a man who's learned that God does his best work in the middle of our mess. Each episode will have honest conversations with people who've walked through addiction, pain, or doubt, and with pastors, leaders, and everyday believers who are learning to live and lead authentically. So take a breath, pull up a chair, and let's get real. This is Unmasked. Welcome to episode 1, where I get to tell you a little bit about why I started Unmasked. You see, for a long time, I thought that the goal of faith was getting everything right. If I could just prove that I was strong enough, disciplined enough, and good enough, God would be pleased, and maybe people would be too. So I built a mask, not out of plastic or paint, but out of performance. I smiled when I was exhausted. I served while secretly struggling. I gave answers when what I really needed were questions. On the outside, life looked solid. Inside, though, I was falling apart, drowning in shame that I didn't want anyone to see. There came a night when I sat alone, replaying every failure and pretending that I had control still. Somewhere in that silence, though, I felt God whisper, "You can keep pretending, or you can let me heal you, but you can't do both." That moment changed everything. It didn't fix everything overnight, but it began something real. That's why I started Unmasked. So let's talk a little bit about why we hide. Why do we hide in the first place? Masks make us feel safer than honesty. Honesty risks exposure. Honesty invites judgment. Honesty admits that we don't have it all together. But here's the truth. You can't heal what you won't reveal. In Genesis 3, when Adam and Eve sinned, the very first thing that they did was hide. They sewed together fig leaves and they ducked behind the trees, as if God, who created those trees, couldn't see them. And yet when God called out, he didn't ask, "What did you do?" Instead, he asked, "Where are you?" That's the heart of God. He's not chasing us to condemn us. He's calling to restore our relationship. When we hide, we think we're protecting ourselves from judgment. But what we're really doing is cutting ourselves off from the very grace that we need. For me, faith had become a performance. I was doing the right things. I was attending church. I was serving in church. I was leading. But I was doing them to prove my worth instead of living from grace. Eventually, that kind of life cracks. You can't maintain a mask forever. In 2 Corinthians 12:9, Paul writes, "My grace is sufficient for you. My power is made perfect in weakness." We wrote that verse a lot, but I didn't understand it until weakness was all that I had left to offer. And that's when I learned that God's grace isn't a safety net for when you fall. It's the ground that you're already standing on. When I finally stopped performing and I started confessing, healing began to happen. My relationships changed. My faith deepened, and I realized something powerful. People aren't drawn to perfection, they're drawn to honesty. That's what Unmasked is all about. Creating a space where honesty leads to healing. This show isn't about perfection. It's about a process. It's a place for honest stories. Mine, yours, and the guests that you'll meet coming up. They remind us that God redeems what shame tries to bury. If you've ever sat in church feeling like you don't belong, or looked at your life and wondered, how could God still use me? This podcast is for you. I'm not here to hand out formulas. I'm here to walk with you through the tension between faith and failure, grace and growth, because freedom doesn't come from pretending. It comes from bringing our real selves to a real Savior. Let me tell you something that I wish somebody had told me years ago. You're allowed to be in progress. Let me say that again. You're allowed to be in progress. God isn't waiting for you to reach some spiritual milestone before he meets you. He's right here in the middle of all of your questions. In the middle of the mess, when you're saying, "I should be further by now," he's saying, "I'm right here." If you're breathing, he's still building. And if you feel broken, congratulations. You're in the perfect position for grace to go to work. Romans 5:8 says, "While we were still sinners, Christ died for us." That means he didn't wait for you to clean up your act. He moved first. So wherever you are in your story today, don't hide. Don't edit it to make it look prettier. Bring the real thing to God. He already knows it, and he's not intimidated by it. Every episode of Unmasked will end with a simple action that you can take in your own walk. This week's action step is to set aside 10 minutes of quiet. No music, no phone, no noise. And ask these 3 questions and be completely honest as you write out the answers in a journal or on your notes app. Question 1. What mask am I most tempted to wear? Question 2. What fear keeps me from taking it off? And question 3. What truth does God want to remind me of instead? When you're done, pray the simple prayer. God, I'm tired of pretending. Help me to see myself the way that you see me, fully known, fully loved, and fully free. That's it. Just 10 honest minutes. Because healing starts when honesty does. Thanks for joining me today on Unmasked. If this episode encouraged you, would you take a moment to follow, rate, and share it with somebody who you think could benefit from hearing it? For encouragement and information on having me speak at your church or event, or to learn more about my coaching services, visit wesleyfarnsworth.com. And don't forget to connect with me on social media. Until next time, remember that grace is greater than your past, and freedom begins when we live unmasked. God bless you.